Monday, August 2nd. Oh, it's being recorded. Okay, hold on. All right. I call the meeting to order this Monday, August 2nd, 7:30. Elaine, you want to take roll call?
Yeah. Okay. Woody Fisher,
Here.
Ray,
Here.
Carol,
Here.
Rainey,
Here.
Alan Horn,
Here.
Ally,
Yeah.
Mike,
Here.
Enrique.
Here.
Roughly,
Here.
please.
He's working on his summer bod.
Listen, guys, I'm trying not to mute everybody, but there's a lot of background noise.
Yeah.
If you could
Mute
please
everybody.
stop- If you could please stop the background noise, otherwise I'm gonna have to mute everyone. Go ahead, Elaine, I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah, that's all right. Okay, Louise is, I don't think she's here. Dawn Hip.
Yeah.
Okay, Myra,
Here.
Andy,
Here.
Stu,
Here.
Ginny,
Here.
Royanne,
Here.
Greg,
Here.
Matt,
Here.
John Campbell's not here. Ann,
Here.
Gilles,
Here.
Joni,
Here.
Mary's not here. Elaine is here. Alan is here.
I'm here,
Okay,
and you have Alex is here,
okay,
Elaine and Shane.
okay. Eileen and Shane. Okay.
Okay, go right into the motions. Motion A. Matt, you want to read it?
Sure. Motion to award contract for the 40-year recertification of Hollybrook's buildings. I move that the board adopt a resolution engaging the services of G. Bautista Engineering and Construction for the purpose of performing a 40-year recertification in accordance with the contract annexed here to and made a part hereof. The cost of the project will be $119,000. The project will be funded from the unallocated contingency fund.
Have a second?
Second.
Rainey, second it. Okay, we'll open it for discussion.
Wait a minute.
I-
Gotta do backup.
Oh, I'm sorry, read the backup.
That's
Sorry,
okay.
sorry. Backup.
I will, before I read the backup, I just want to commend our controller, Alexander Ivanesco, and our facilities manager, Mitch Davis, for how quickly they were able to get this information to us so we can make a decision. The backup on this, state and local laws require a 40-year recertification inspection of all buildings in Hollybrook. As of this date, all but 5 buildings in phase 6 are due for inspection. There are 5 buildings in mention will not be required to have a 40-year inspection for another 5 years. As of this date, in addition, all patios and balconies will be inspected for spalling and structural issues. 3 bids were received for the project as follows. G. Bautista Engineering and Construction, $119,000. Swaysland Professional Engineering, $268,000. I will attest to the fact that this is not the complete bill on Swaysland. The exact amount when they get into phase 6, phase 2 of their project is not set forth. So that's not a total amount. That's just the initial amount. And then Suefront Construction and Engineering, $204,000. The proposals were attached to the motion. Management strongly recommends engaging the services of G. Bautista Engineering and Construction to do our 40-year recertification.
Okay, before I open it up for discussion, I just want to say two things, basically. One, this is not an option, whether we want to do this or not. It has to be done. By law, it has to be done. And I was going through the proposals again very carefully. And the Swaziland does say phase 2, which I missed the first go round. It says re-inspect as necessary to confirm that needed repairs and replacements were done, performed properly. The fee for the services set forth in phase 2 will be charged at the engineer's standard hourly rate as set forth below. So, and it goes on to give the different prices per hour. So as Matt said, the 268 is not a fixed price. It will be substantially more than 268 when you get through to the second phase. All right, Ann, go ahead.
Okay, I have three points I want to raise. Number one, if we accept Batista's contract, are we locked in with them to do the work that is required if there are repairs that need to be made? Because I'm
Absolutely
worried.
not. Absolutely
The
not.
answer is no.
Okay, well, then the next question I've got is, if that's the case, Batista's proposal doesn't talk, they say they'll do the recertification, but they don't say what they're going to charge us to come back.
It does say, it says if after the on-site inspection, we will provide you with a repair list. Included in this proposal is one re-inspection to assess that those items of concern have been repaired. So that's included in his proposal.
Okay, so even if he doesn't do the repairs, he will still come back. And
Correct. That
and
is correct.
okay, and the last question I have is, has our association lawyer looked at this? And
We don't need the association lawyer to look at this contract. This is a regular contract. We've gone through, in fact, in the past, most of the time, the association lawyers never looked at them. We had our in-house lawyers, well, our people looking at it. It's a straightforward proposal. It's not worth the expense.
okay.
Anybody else? Hold on, Rainey?
Yes. If this goes through tonight, how soon will they be able to start doing the work?
Almost immediately.
And how long will it take?
Well, we have 90 days to do it.
Excuse me.
So, Alex, you could probably speak to that subject better than I can. Did he give you an indication?
I did talk to them last week. I've been keeping them on the loop for the past month. Last week, he spoke to him. He said, Alex, I have a lot of clients now. I'm going to try to put you in front of everybody else, but you guys are taking some time, so I'm accepting other contracts. So he did say he's going to try to help us. I did tell them we have 3 letters that need to be addressed. At least those 3 should be prioritized. But he did tell me I'm holding this quote. It's been 1 month now, so I have to keep working with my other clients.
The other thing I'd like to add, Rennie, is that as a business person myself in construction, I'm sure that he's hoping to get his foot in our door. We have a lot of other engineering work as well as repair work. And, you know, him doing our inspection would go a long way towards him getting a foot in the door. Now, nobody guaranteed him anything. Nobody implied anything that he would get any work. But at this point, as long as everything goes well and he does what he's supposed to do, there's no reason I wouldn't include him in future bids for other work as well. So I'm sure that's going to go a long way in him putting us to the front.
My last question. Once this is done, if they find defects and everything else, how much time after that do we have to complete the jobs?
180 days.
Okay, thank you.
Also, the town, as long as we're working on it, if God forbid there's something that will take longer than that, as long as we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, we'll be okay. I saw Joni.
Yes, thank you. Am I muted?
No,
Okay, good. I wanted to see if we could add a friendly amendment. It's been usual and customary when we make a motion to, it says the project shall be funded from the unallocated contingency fund. I checked with Alex earlier today. Usually we include which has a current balance of, and in this case, it's 152,000. And that's usually added when we do a motion. So I'm asking if that could be a friendly amendment before I do my other two comments.
Okay, Alex? Alex, can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay, will you confirm the amount that Joni just read?
yes.
Okay, then, as the motion maker, I will abide by that friendly amendment and add that wording.
Okay, great. My other, well, one of them is more important. Well, they're both very important. In the beginning of the proposal by Batista, and I did listen to a webinar that he conducted. On the subject, he said 40, 50-year inspection. But later, within the body, the scope of the inspection, many of our buildings are closer or at the 50-year mark. When we write the contract, I'd like it to slash 40/50, the way he did in the subject, every time it's mentioned, which is several times. So I'd like that to be noted when we do the contract. And the last thing I wanted to say is I appreciate Matt's comments and thanking both Mitch and Alex for moving with alacrity as soon as we found out that we had these 3 letters. But the person who was left off was the one who initially contacted Batista, and that was Celine Peterson. And I want her to be acknowledged as
Absolutely.
well. Okay, so those are my 3 comments, and I certainly appreciate the time to address them.
okay, anybody else? Stu?
I have a question.
I'd like to ask Alan Horn a question.
Oh, geez.
Alan, you're pretty knowledgeable in New York about what's going, you hear
I'm
me,
here.
Alan?
I can hear you.
You're pretty knowledgeable in New York about this type of thing. I know that. Down here, not one of the lawyers we know of, except for our own lawyers, is knowledgeable on this, in my opinion. Do you personally feel that our HOA lawyers, our Hollybrook lawyers, don't have to sign off on this deal?
I think it's their standard business bid. I don't think there's anything in here that's exotic or outside of the realm of a standard, typical kind of form deal. So I think we're okay as we are.
Thank you.
Alan, you had something you wanted to say?
I just wanted to know what alacrity meant, but I'll pass on that. That was Joni's comment. No, I'm passing. That was
Okay,
an attempt at a little levity here, but
Mike?
Yeah, in the proposal here, it talks about the 5 buildings that are not at the 40-year number yet, but it talks about inspecting their balconies. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right, so they're not going to inspect the entire buildings, but they're going to look at the outside balconies and make sure
Right.
there's no spalling or anything.
Actually, he's the one that told us if we had included them with it would have only been about $6,000 or $7,000 more to include them. But he said that if we include them, and this was confirmed, that it wouldn't go towards the 40-year certification, because you still have 5 years to go. So we'd be wasting that money.
Correct.
So, but he will do the balconies.
And this also then would get their foot in the door, like, so then 5 years, when those 5 buildings have to be
Absolutely.
inspected, then hopefully he'd give us a good price on that time.
Yeah, I
too.
mean, I used to do the same thing with construction. You give the first time you're trying to get somebody in the door, I'd almost do it for cost, sometimes a little below. But then you're in the building and you got your foot in the door, and could lead to a lot of other work. I used to do that all the time, so it doesn't surprise me.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Yeah.
Ginny and then Don?
Okay, I just had a couple of questions. We only have 180 days to get this work done? Because I think at the rate they've been repairing balconies, they're more than 180 days, they're more like a year on every single balcony that they've done. And there are a lot of balconies that you can see the rebar on. And I would think that would not pass inspection if you can be on the outside and look up and see rebar showing.
Well, Ginny, that's why I had said that as long as we're working towards the goal and we have people on site doing repairs, they won't hold us strictly to the 180 days. If we were doing
Alan, let me qualify that. What they actually said was they would be responsible for any extensions that are required, as long as we undertake the work that's being undertaken. So that's kind of covered.
But so how long do you think it's gonna take to repair, say, 10, 20 balconies?
Ginny, there's no way of knowing until we get the report what needs to be repaired.
Well, the people that are working on them now sure are slow. They go days and days, because they were doing the one right beside me. And they'd go literally sometimes a week or two, and nobody would even show up. It was
Well,
pathetic how long it took them.
that's why we will take bids from maybe from Batista too. About it. We have to get more subs in here. I agree. I don't think the balconies are being done fast enough. But again, there's no way of knowing how long this could take. It depends on the report that comes back.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
I think who does it? Don?
Yeah, my concern is these unallocated funds. We used a lot of it up early in the year. We're still 6 months away from the end of the fiscal year. We're in the middle of hurricane season. We don't know what these inspections are going to cost. Unfortunately, we got 2 heavy-duty hits that we weren't prepared for, which was our insurance, nobody's fault, and this 40-year inspection, nobody's fault. But my concern is if the inspection report comes back with some costly repairs, or we get hit with a hurricane and we have extensive damage, we're down below around 50,000 in our funding. Where are we going to come up with this money?
My God.
Well,
I mean, what can our residents expect? An emergency assessment or what?
you know, Don, there's no way of knowing right now. Hurricane could hit, could not hit. We have insurance for hurricanes. We have money set aside in other line items for different repairs. You're asking for somebody to predict the future, and it's not possible. When the time comes, we'll sit down. I mean, if we have to do an assessment, we'll do an assessment. I mean, these are things that you can't predict. Like you said, there was nobody's fault about the insurance. There was nobody's fault about this. We have no choice but to do it. Thank God we have the money there to do it now. And we'll just have to take it day by day and see. We have the money now, and we'll see there's no way of knowing.
Okay.
Hey, Carol?
Okay, you can't project. You have to take it one step at a time, because what you worry about may not even happen. You may not have that many balconies that need to be repaired. You don't know. And I would prefer just to wait and see. Let's get them in here and let's see what happens.
Thank you, Carol. I agree. All right. Anybody else?
And
Ann, go ahead. All right, last time around. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm reading this contract from Batista, and it says it will do, at the bottom, it says it will do the inspection for the 5 buildings and inspect its balconies. It doesn't say all the balconies.
Where?
Right at the bottom, it says, more importantly, we are licensed and insured, right at the bottom of the contract. Protect yourself from potentially costly professional errors. And then it goes on to say, we need $662,000 to go into each unit, including 5 buildings less than 40 years old. Oh, I see.
Including.
Okay.
Words
Including those 5 buildings. Okay.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Very good. All right. My mistake. No problem.
Okay. All right. Let's take roll. Hold
Rosalie,
on, Rosalie.
Yeah. Okay, I have a couple of questions that really concern me. I think the disparity in the prices is just, I just don't understand it. Do we have a spec list from them as to precisely what they're going to look at in the inspection? Is there a protocol that requires the inspection? Do we have that? I mean, just $150,000 differential and $100,000 differential to me just spells. And Alan sent us a memo yesterday, I think, or today, where it said that we have to be careful about what we're doing. And we can't just look at the dollar figure. We have to look at the work that's included there. And this is of some great concern for me.
Okay, well.
There,
one-
I could tell you-
Alan, let me ask, that there is a state statute followed by the county statute. It's a checklist of what they have to look for and what they have to assess and what they are assessing. It's structural, plumbing, electrical. That's what they're looking at. It doesn't change, and it doesn't matter who the people are. They're certified to render these certifications. They're putting their license on the line. And as for the disparity, it looks the same, so they came up with the same numbers.
Don't they use, Batista uses in-house people?
Yeah, Mitch said something about them using in-house people and
Yes,
Swaziland
they
having
are.
to hire electricians, and I don't know if he said plumbers as well. I wasn't sure,
Was
but
plumbers.
that's
No,
part of it.
what he said was that his explanation was that the reason Swaziland came in so high is because they don't have in-house plumbers, and therefore they're probably an additional
Electricians.
charge, but that Bautista did have, in addition, in-house plumbers, plumbing engineers, to be more precise.
You know,
do
at
the
the
work.
end of the day, there's a checklist. They all have to do the same thing. They're all licensed. They're all putting their license on the line.
Is the
They're-
checklist, is the checklist part of the contract?
It's state mandated checklist. It's a state mandated checklist. Any building that goes through this has the same checklist throughout Broward County. And
Mike,
they're known, I mean, there's, for whatever reason, they're lower, and you're comparing apples to apples.
Oh,
my
as
guess
long-
is that the reason they're lower is because they're gonna try to get the repairs, and they're gonna make their money on the repairs, which is why I asked the question of whether we can hire somebody.
I
Somebody else.
don't doubt it, Ann. I'm sure they're gonna try. And
Okay,
we're
so
not
how do we
locked in- We're
protect-
not locked into them.
How do we
Alan,
protect, how do
One
we
second, all right,
protect,
hold it.
Hold it.
Let Rosalie finish, then you, Matt.
Go ahead.
how do we protect ourselves in the contract so that we are specific to them, that any repair work will be brought out to be bid and not be tied to a contract that for whatever reasons that they think that they're gonna be able to walk in on it.
You don't have to do that, Rosalie.
No,
We don't have to.
no.
There's
Okay.
nothing in that contract that binds us to
It
them.
binds us, yeah.
Okay. I just find it.
Okay. All right,
Concern.
all right. Mike?
Yeah, I think in part of their documents here, I like the fact that they spell out basically why their services are less. They provide the structural and electrical inspection or in-house. They provide a list of repairs, included in with the price. They do in-house structural and electrical to provide recommendations for repairs. And, you know, they list about that they've been doing the inspections for more than 15 years. And did we look into any of their satisfied customers? Have we reached out to any of them?
I believe Mitch did a background, and he found didn't have any problems with it.
Okay.
And we spoke to Pembroke Pines. and
He
Pembroke
discussed
Pines-
it he discussed it, I believe, at the directors forum.
And Pembroke Pines knows them well, knows
As
them
far
as
as
well.
in-
and
okay.
gave them, yeah, you know,
All
and look,
Okay.
quite honestly, I'm a little concerned, Swaziland, if this is their real numbers, I'm gonna start sending their stuff out to bid because this is really high compared. So, you know, that's for a future conversation. But, you know, let's do one thing at a time. All right, I think that covered every.
I'm sorry, I have one more question.
Okay,
In this contract, in some of the other contracts, they provided how soon they'd start, how soon they would complete it. And maybe I'm misreading this.
no, I will make sure that that we include that start date and a completion date or tentative completion date. It should be in there. Yes, you're right.
Before
It
you
should be in
sign this
there.
contract.
Absolutely. It's certainly a start date
Yeah,
because we only have 90 days.
well, and Batista is listed all over the place for everything in Florida, and I'm concerned that we may be on the bottom of the list.
No, I agree. We definitely need a start date. I agree with you, and that will be included.
Okay.
Alan,
Yes,
Okay.
Matt.
two things. Number one, Alex basically said they're holding their spot. Am I
That's
correct?
not what he said.
No, Matt, it doesn't, look, let's not dwell on this. We will put a date in there for them to start.
Okay.
I mean, it has to be a reasonable
the
date. I don't expect
okay.
them to start tomorrow, but I also don't expect them to start, 60 days from now.
Okay,
As long as we're within our 90 days, we'll
Okay,
be okay.
okay,
So
the
we'll-
second thing, just as a note, Joni, you had requested a friendly amendment on that. Other than the subject matter, the rest of the contract merely refers to a 40-year certification. So it's really not necessary. I mean, unless you want to just block it out, we'll block
All
it out.
Elaine, can you unmute? And let's take a vote on this.
Thank you. Sorry.
So Alan, are you going to include that in a friendly amendment so that we put a date in there?
Yeah, we're gonna read it. Well, I can't put it, yeah. We will put in two things. One, that, Matt, is this okay? It's your motion. Joan, like Joni said, funded from the
Yes,
unallocated, which has.
I
100
accepted, yeah,
Okay.
I accepted that.
And the other
40-50.
one, we'll just add in there that a start date to be specified before signing.
Correct.
That's 40/50.
Alan, what that?
Joni asked for 40/50 to be referenced.
Yes.
I think-
Well, can I just speak to that quickly, Alan? Hello?
Yeah,
Hello?
go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. I listened to this Jean Batista when he gave his webinar, and to allay Rosalie's concerns and maybe some others, the 40-year and the 50-year inspection are exactly the same. The city of Pembroke Pines gives us a checklist, and all engineering firms have to go through that checklist. He was very careful to point out that since we're not in Miami-Dade, he doesn't have to do the lighting because that's not required by the Pembroke Pines building code. But the 40/50, I think, would protect us because some of our buildings are beyond 40 and pretty soon at 50. But it's the same thing. Then once we do this, the board of our future will have to know that this has to be done every 10 years going forward. It's not just a one-time deal.
Well,
You
okay.
do it now, and then you do it 10 years later.
Joni,
Okay, Johnny, we'll worry
Wait a
about 10 years
so
from now.
let me just,
10
wait,
years,
let me
but you're
just
right.
answer that. Let me just address that. Number one, there's legislation presently up in Tallahassee to change it from 40-year certification to 20-year certification, number one. Number two, the initial certification is 40 years, and then every 10 years after, they're looking to move that up to initial 20 and 5 years
All
thereafter.
right,
certification.
all this right now is not that relevant.
Let's
All right.
vote.
Let's,
All right.
Let's take a vote.
Well, do we need to vote on the friendly amendment?
All right.
Just
Mike,
asking a
you're
question.
the last one, Mike, go ahead.
Do we need to vote on the friendly amendments to the motion before we
No,
vote on
because
the motion?
it's
No,
been
because I
accepted.
accepted them.
We accepted it.
Okay,
So we
Did
could
you accept mine too, Matt?
Which
Yes.
one? I'm sorry.
He did. He
Okay,
did. All right, Matt, did you take notes on it to reread the motion with the friendly amendments on it? Can you just reread that? Make sure we have it.
I move that the board adopt a resolution engaging the services of G. Batista Engineering and Construction for the purposes of performing a 40-year recertification in accordance with the contract annexed hereto and made a part hereof. The cost of the project will be $119,000. The project will be funded from the unallocated contingency fund, which presently has a balance of $152,000. In addition, the contract will provide a finite starting date for the project. Close enough?
Oh, okay. All right, Elaine, let's take a vote.
we got a second that.
Oh, do we?
No, we don't.
I don't believe so, but
No second on the friendly amendment.
Okay,
Okay, I have a letter from Forum, just one.
okay, go ahead. Read it up. Read it.
Okay, it's from Claude LaChance. He's in Building 5, Apartment 304. We were all shocked and saddened by the Surfside collapse. Lessons must be learned from this tragedy. Most buildings in Hollybrook are due for a mandatory 40-year recertification, and it can be expected that there will be renewed urgency on the part of the authorities to proceed forthwith with actuating this requirement. It can also be surmised that insurance underwriters will require the recertification of eligible buildings as a condition of insuring us in the future. In addition, previous boards had started to make provisions to address emerging structural issues with some of the balconies. The engineering report will serve to inform the board in terms of allocated contingencies to be included in the next budget to address specified remediations identified in the report and by the inspection of all balconies. Therefore, it is prudent for the association to be proactive in preparing ourselves to address the recertification and scope out balcony remediation by getting professional advice and recommendations. I strongly urge the board to adopt motion A. As an aside, I do believe some allocated funds have been set aside in previous budgets to address the anticipated 40-year recertification, something that the comptroller may want to clarify so as to properly assign the source of the funding to implement this initiative. Finally, although there is in our documents general authority for the association to access individual units to effect repairs to common elements, the board may want to consider adding some language to the motion to the effect that access to units to inspect the balconies will be requested by the association on behalf of the contractor as per our bylaws. Thank you, Claude LaChance.
Okay, let's take the roll. Let's take the vote.
Okay.
Can I ask
Make
a question?
Make a note, no, hold on, make a note that Louise is present at the meeting.
Yeah, I saw her. Okay.
All right.
Can I just ask a question to Alex? How much money is in the allocated reserve for this?
There's
The reserve. You mean,
we-
152,000 in the allocated reserves.
No, we, in the
Unallocated.
unallocated.
On the unallocated.
The Claude said, and I seem to recall that in past budgets, we put money for the 40-year inspection.
yes,
Where, how much money and where is it?
it was allocated, it was 50,000, but last year, because of COVID, Paul transferred 40 of it. And only 10 was left in that account.
So there is 10,000 left in that account?
Yes, that 10,000 goes first, and then the other 109 comes from unallocated.
Okay, so we're only using 109 of the unallocated reserves and 10,000 from that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Elaine, take the vote. Unmute. You're muted.
Okay, If you agree with passing the motion, say yes, opposed, no. Okay, Woody,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes,
Rainey,
Yes,
Alan,
Yes.
Ally,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes,
Enrique,
Yes.
Rosalie,
Yes,
Louise,
Yes.
Dawn,
Yes.
Myra,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Stu,
Yes.
Jenny,
yes,
Royanne,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
okay, Matt,
Yes.
Anne,
yes,
Jill,
Yes.
Joni,
Yes.
Mary's not here. Elaine, yes. Alan,
Yeah,
Eisman.
yes.
Okay, so we have 23 unanimous votes. Motion passes.
Thank you all. I think we did the right thing. Okay, motion B.
Okay, motion B, and thanks to a suggestion to Rosalie to do this. It's a motion to cancel all previous COVID-19 protocols and to ratify and adopt the new COVID protocols effective as of July 26, 2021. I move that the board adopt a resolution canceling all previous COVID-19 protocols and ratify and adopt new COVID protocols effective as of July 26, 21 as follows. All employees will be required to be fully vaccinated. The only exception will be if you have a medical condition which prevents you from being vaccinated. In such event, you will have to furnish a letter from your doctor confirming that you cannot be vaccinated for medical reasons. If you are fully vaccinated, all employees shall present proof of same to our controller by July 28, 2021. If you have not been vaccinated, please schedule an appointment by that date and present our controller with a confirmation of the appointment. Masks must be worn at all times by everyone entering the administration building. Number 4, there shall be a moratorium placed on renting space to any outside groups. 5, all vendors and contractors must wear masks at all times.
Need a second?
second,
Randy seconded it.
Okay, in light of the current spike in COVID-19 cases within our community, it was deemed appropriate to establish a new set of COVID protocols to address the current situation.
Okay, before I open it up to any comments, understand these have already been put into place. We're ratifying what's already existing. And I just want to let everybody know that if you have any other issues or ideas or suggestions about what we should be doing, please email me or call me and let me know. I noticed today that I was listening to the news that Florida and South Florida is the epicenter right now again. So by voting on this, we're not limiting it to this. This is the start. And if we need to go further, we will. I just don't want to panic and shut everything down again. So we're taking one step at a time. All right, Royanne, then Ally.
Yes, thanks, Helen. I was just wondering, are we gonna have it that the vaccinated people have an option to wear the mask? Because I walked in the restaurant, it says you must wear a mask all the time until you get your food and beverage, just like it was before we eased up on our protocols. So, I mean, Publix has a sign that says if you're vaccinated, you don't have, according to the CDC, you don't have to wear your mask. And now all of a sudden in Hollybrook, everybody has to wear their mask. And now the staff has to go through all that again.
I'll be honest.
I don't know. I'm just asking. I want thoughts. I don't know.
According to our these rules, if you're vaccinated, you don't need to wear a mask in a restaurant if you're vaccinated. Why that sign is up, I don't know. But as of right now, the answer would be no, you don't need to as long as you're vaccinated.
Okay,
So if
because
that's
like
the
I
case-
said, yeah,
I
there's-
understand. All right.
Yeah,
Ally,
okay, thank
Ally,
you.
Ally, then Ann.
Well, actually, I was just going, okay. Same thing like Rowan say, it's not only the restaurant, you also the common area, you say the masking all the time. So do I really need the common area also? Because CDC say you have vaccinated, you don't need it.
We're not talking about common areas here. We're talking about the administration building. And we're talking about
Playground, room.
mostly employees. So the common areas right now, if you're vaccinated, we're not requiring a mask. Now, that doesn't mean it can't change, but as of right now, you do not need a mask if you're vaccinated in a common area. Ann?
Yeah, I'm concerned. I mean, I'm not in South Florida at the moment, but I know what's going on here. And one of the reasons they are requiring people here, whether you're vaccinated or not, to wear masks is because half the time you don't know who's vaccinated and who isn't.
That's
And-
true.
And when we let people in the restaurant, we don't know whether they're vaccinated or not. So, you know, I know you've limited this motion to the administration building, but I would encourage you to think about including the restaurant, the golf pro shop, you know, the other places where people come in.
You're talking about all the common areas.
Correct.
I mean, does everybody feel that way?
I do.
You too.
No, not yet.
Okay, well,
No,
here's what I suggest. Okay. Rather than, I mean, like I said, these are already in place. We're ratifying something that's already there. Right? I could always call another meeting if we want to change protocols or add to them or change them. I would suggest that you shoot me a quick email or a call. Let me know how you feel. You know, I'm not going to, you know, govern by consensus, so to speak, but I want to hear what you guys have to say and what you feel is to keep us safe. And then we'll go forward. I mean, you know, hold on, Alan, go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to ask Alex if there's an update on the deadlines we presented for employees to either show that they were vaccinated or a date for vaccination.
Not on the screen.
Alex, are you still there?
Yes. Well, first, I would like to say that the sign in the restaurant was a request from the restaurant employees. They are getting the vaccines. One employee quit because she refused to get a vaccine or wear masks. And the restaurant employees are feeling a little unsafe as well. So they asked, can we have a sign saying that people have to wear masks as well for our protection? That's why I allowed them to put the sign over there.
Okay.
I would ask that you guys consider their opinion as well. They're feeling uneasy with whatever everything is happening.
Okay.
Now,
What about the rest of my question, Alex?
yes, regarding the employees, I would say that 90% of the employees that have not been vaccinated showed me their vaccination cards. So they are getting the shots. I have very few employees that are feeling uncomfortable. And I spoke to them. I said, I explained the procedure, the policy, and they will come and talk to me. And I said, whatever you show me, whatever you talk, it's going to be private between you guys and me. And we'll make a decision based on documentation you brought it to us. But I would say that more than 90% of unvaccinated employees got the first shot already.
Thank you.
Okay, hold on. Carol, then Eileen, Mike, and Don.
Okay, I think also where you said that employees need to show their card, I also think that volunteers should as well. Because I work in the admin building
A few of them brought
and
me the.
several other ones do too.
That's one of the reasons I put mandatory masks in the administration building. You know, that should be enough protection, I would think. I'm not opposed to, I mean, I'll show my card, that's no sweat, but that's a reason I put masks in there too, as a double protection. Okay, Elaine?
Sorry. Yeah, people are getting COVID that have already been vaccinated. In fact, I know of a few people that here at Hollybrook that have been vaccinated and they got it. So I would say I'm wearing a mask in the elevator now. The sign's still there, and to me, somebody breathes. I don't know who's coming in and out of here, and you know, I'm just protecting myself. I just think we
You know,
should be a little more.
obviously, you know, it's your own, you wear a mask at your own discretion right now, and if you feel better doing it, but just for those particular reasons, yes, we did have cases. That's why I instituted these new COVID protocols, because I think we had 6 or 7 cases, if I remember correctly. And another reason I wanted all deliveries and truck drivers, because you don't know where they've been as well. So some of those concerns were answered in this protocol that we're going to ratify. Again, if you have any additional, you know, let me know. Mike?
Yes, my wife, being in management at the hospital, she gets a lot of information that, you know, a lot of times that I don't hear about or whatever, and I hear it from her. Saturday, the rate as a positivity on rate was 28% in Broward County.
Wow.
Wait, that's a
Yeah,
lot.
I know, I saw it today, so it's outrageous.
Yeah, and she just sent me the CDC guidance for people fully vaccinated to maximize protection. Hold on. To maximize protection from the Delta variant and to prevent possible spreading it to others, wear a mask indoors in public if you are in an area of substantial or high transmission. I think that qualifies where we're at right now.
Can you
So-
can you do me a favor? Can you
Yes.
send me a copy of that?
Yeah, I can send that to you.
And actually, it wouldn't hurt if you wanted to send it to the full board, but I'd like to see a copy of that, and that could help us decide if we want, how much further, if we
Yeah.
do want to go.
I think it goes back to being overly cautious. And I'm sorry, somebody walking into the restaurant, I mean, my God, we did it for almost a full year wearing a mask. What is the big deal?
Actually, you know, based on what Alex said,
Yeah.
I have no problem leaving the sign up there. If that's what the restaurant requires and they ask for it, so be it, you know. You know, if you don't want to wear a mask, I'm sorry, take out or
Yeah.
or use someplace else. I mean,
Right
yeah.
now, is it your hospital? Yeah, just in Pam's hospital, Memorial Regional, 198 positive patients with COVID. They've already set up a 50-bed, 40
I heard
bed
today that
field.
Broward County is reopening 3 additional
Testing
parks
sites.
for testing and for shots. I mean, you know, so it's
know-
something we need to consider. We absolutely have to consider it.
And the
And we might
idea
need to go
is
further.
that, you know, those of us who have been vaccinated, I mean, it's meant to keep us from dying. It's not.
Well, one thing I could tell you is that from all right, Johnny, I got you. Each and every person that I spoke to, because I'm required to make contact with everybody that tests positive in Hollybrook to make sure that they understand not to use our facilities and not to use any common space and so on and so forth. They've all had just minor, all but one, let me say, had minor reaction to it because they had the shots. The shot did protect them. It was more of a flu than anything else. Only one person was a little bit more serious, but you know, as far as that goes, the shot is helping. All right, Don, then Joni.
Yeah, I have 2 issues. The first one is on part 1. Are we overlooking the fact about religious reasons for
No,
not getting a shot?
no. If they come in with a religious reason, that's the same as the doctor's reason.
Okay, I just thought it should be mentioned in there then.
Well,
The other thing is masks must be worn at all times by everyone entering the administration building. How
That
about
should-
the employees and volunteers working in the building?
it really
A lot of
should.
people are not wearing a mask inside the
It
building.
really,
I think
it
that's wrong.
really, it really should say by anybody inside the administration building.
Exactly.
Okay, but then you got to clamp down on it because that's not being followed. I've been to the office twice this week and dealt with people who are not wearing masks in different offices, and I'm not mentioning any names. Okay, so
If
we
you're
gotta lead
in
by
your,
example.
okay, if you're in your own office by yourself.
And
you
you're
don't
dealing
need
with
to-
public.
You don't need to wear the mask. If you're coming out into the corridor or into the common area where other people are, then you would need a mask. But in your own office, you do not need to wear it if you're alone. Okay, so if that's what you saw, that's
But they're
allowed.
dealing with people that are coming in and they're not wearing a
Only
mask.
if they're dealing with people. Look, if you come into the office and you've had your shots and he's had his shots, and you look at each other and you say, I don't care if you wear a mask, and that's up to the two individuals sitting there and talking. This is still a free country. You can't stop that. But if you're walking out into the corridor where somebody could run.
Okay, and my last question is, what's ahead for the employees that refuse to get vaccinated?
To be considered.
At this point, we're taking it on a case-by-case basis to see what reason they have. My initial reaction would be for them to wear a mask 24/7. But again, we really haven't had that problem. One person, quit. But other than that, we've had most everybody's been cooperating. Mike?
All right, I do know that there's quite a few nurses at the hospitals that aren't vaccinated. They're basically told to work, they have to be in full PPE. The entire time they're in the hospital, they have to be in full PPE, not just when they're dealing with the COVID, not just when they're dealing with the COVID patients. So we had talked about that at the meeting last week. Maybe that's what we need to do for those that, that are, because again, if there's a way, if there's an option to keep a valued employee, can we look at that as a possible option?
Oh, absolutely. I'm not looking to fire anybody.
Right.
It's hard enough to get help. But again, we have to protect people. So if we do find somebody totally resistant to the shot and won't, my gut reaction is to make them wear a mask 24/7 or something else. I agree with you. I'm not looking to fire people. I'm
Okay.
looking to protect people.
Yeah, and I agree. I'm totally a vaccine proponent. So
yeah. All right.
Joni.
Oh,
Joni.
Joni, right. I'm sorry, Joni. Go ahead.
Well, in the past, I have found to follow the CDC guidelines when we do our protocol. Based on the spike in COVID cases in Broward County, I would like to suggest that we add a number 6 to this. And it said it should read perhaps a variation of this. I just wrote it out quickly. Hollybrook shall follow CDC guidelines, and due to the Delta variant, masks shall be required to protect against the Delta variant in all common areas. I would like to see that.
Okay,
added.
my only issue with that is that locks us into following CDC guidelines. And there are times, and we have the option of going above and beyond the CDC guidelines if we want to.
So I think if you add the word at minimum, follow the CDC guidelines.
No. Excuse me, it's my motion, and I will tell you, you don't add language like that because understand this, CD guidelines are exactly that, they're guidelines.
I would go one step further. If we're going to accept that as written, that's very broad. Joni, you'd have to wear a mask at the pool. Do you want to wear a mask at the pool? I think we're trying to be reasonable here for the time being, and let's see how things develop.
Look, I think we're all on the same page here. We all want to protect everybody without trampling on people's rights and without, shutting everything down. I think that we all work together. This should not be a problem. We've proved in the past that we were able to come up with guidelines and protocols that were pretty much unanimous. Once I'll get you, Mike, don't worry.
And me.
And who?
Rayanne.
Oh, okay. You know, I think that, you know, like I said, if you want to add some other things, or if you feel strongly about something else, just let me know. We'll discuss it. And, you know, we'll put it out there at the next meeting, or if it's something urgent, we'll call a special meeting. You know, go ahead, Mike.
All right, well, just to worry about the thing at the pools, just, it's not recommended out, it's not outdoors, it's the indoors that's the primary, that's, so like air, it's the air circulation, like out on the golf course and out at the pools and stuff like that is, it's not what they're recommending. They're just talking about basically inside the buildings, the admin building, the restaurant, the pro shop, you know, the places that, because this is.
Elevators.
This is an air elevators. This is an aerosolization type spread. It's through the respiration.
Mike, I
Alan,
agree with
can I
you.
just address that, please?
1 second. Go ahead.
Because
Alan,
Joni's, anyway, I'm suggesting if you look at the CDC guidance verbatim, it says common areas. It doesn't define indoors or outdoors. I'm not saying no, I'm not saying anyone is wrong. I'm just pointing out that if you follow the language verbatim, that's not defined. So I agree with Mike, you know, and you know, obviously it doesn't apply to outdoor areas, but I'm getting back to the point where if we're going to follow CDC guidelines, we have to include more definitive language, for example, to indicate that it's indoors, not outdoors.
all right, hold on 1 second. All right, Ryan, you were next.
Yeah, can you just, number 5, about vendors and contractors? Where are you saying that they must wear masks at all times? Because during the peak of the COVID, I saw contractors going in unit owners' homes with no masks. So who's gonna oversee that?
Look, you know what? The security could just do so much.
That's what I'm saying. Who's gonna?
We're not a Gestapo state. You know, I put the rule out there that if you know, if security sees somebody, if you're a homeowner and you're having somebody do work in your house, you should take the initiative to tell them, look, you know what, coming back and forth, you need to wear a mask. If you don't want to wear a mask in your house, that's something else. But
It's called personal
you know, and
responsibility.
also when they come in the gate, they're now being given a thing that says mask must be worn.
Okay.
You know, is it foolproof? No.
No.
Is it gonna help? Maybe.
Okay,
Myra?
I just didn't know because it's very vague, so I didn't know. Like I said, I saw many of contractors
I'm
going
sure you
into.
did. I'm sure you did. Myra?
So
Oh, I was just confirming, it's personal responsibility, Alan. I mean,
Exactly.
you know, we can't be on top of
right.
everybody and with
All
security
right,
either.
I'm gonna let Matt talk and then we're gonna vote on this because like I said, they're already in place.
Okay,
Um,
I'm gonna add a friendly amendment on my own to this. A unnumbered paragraph after paragraph 5, to the extent that such new protocols may be added or deleted as circumstances require. That will give us the flexibility to act quickly. If something comes up, we can react to it.
I like that. That's good.
Okay, Ann, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, let's start with this and see what happens. And if we get reports that something's out of control, then we can revise it.
That was my intention originally, and since this, just to let you know, I'm not saying it's because of this, I'm just coincidence, there hasn't been another reported case since
No,
the last 2.
The other thing, my memory of the CDC guidelines was masks indoor, not outdoor. But
Exactly.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay. All
And
right.
you're right on that one.
Okay, Elaine, you want to unmute and take the vote? Matt, you want to reread it with the additional?
Do I have to? Motion to cancel all previous COVID protocols and ratify and adopt new COVID protocols effective as of July 26, 2021. I move that the board adopt a resolution canceling all previous COVID-19 protocols and ratify and adopt new COVID protocols effective as of July 26, 2021 as follows. All employees will be required to be fully vaccinated. The only exception will be if you have a medical condition which prevents you from being vaccinated. In such event, you will have to furnish a letter from a doctor confirming that you cannot be vaccinated for medical reasons. If you are fully vaccinated, all employees shall present proof of same to our controller by July 28, 2021. If you have not been vaccinated, please schedule an appointment by that date and present to our controller with the confirmation of the appointment. Masks must be worn at all times by everyone entering the administration building. There was a friendly amendment.
Everyone in, just put the
That you
word
wanted
in.
it at all times in the administration building.
Right,
Take out the entering.
yes.
Okay, shall be worn by everybody in the administration building. Number 4, there should be a moratorium placed on renting space to any outside groups. All vendors and contractors must wear masks at all times. Such COVID protocols shall be subject to amendment, replace, or delete as is determined necessary by the circumstances.
Okay, Elaine, take the vote, please.
And Alex wants to speak.
Oh, Alex, I don't, sorry, it's hard for me to see everybody on the screen.
No, there
All right,
was a
Alex,
while
go ahead.
ago. I was just gonna say that the very few employees that came with concerns about the vaccine for good reasons, they are going to wear the mask all the time while they're working at Hollybrook, and they're gonna provide me tests very frequently. So I will be watching whoever is not able to get the vaccine with test results, and they're gonna have to wear masks all the time.
Thank you.
That's all we want. We just want to be safe. Like I said, we're not looking to fire anybody. All right, Elaine, go ahead.
Okay, answer yes if you approve the motion, no if you do not. Okay, Woody,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes,
Rainey,
Yes,
Alan Horn,
Yes.
Ally,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Enrique,
Yes.
Rosalie,
Yes,
Louise,
yes,
Dawn,
Yes.
Myra,
Yes,
Andy,
Yes.
Stu,
Yes,
Ginny,
yes,
Royanne,
yes,
Greg,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes,
Gilles,
Yes.
Joni,
Yes.
Elaine, yes. And Alan Eisman,
Yes.
okay. Passes with 23 votes.
did any
Okay,
unit owners write in about this?
no,
No.
no.
Not at all.
Okay, with that said, thank you all very much. It was a pleasant meeting and enjoyable. Everybody cooperated. Thank you. And I'll see you soon. I'm going to adjourn the meeting.
everybody
Adjourn
be
the meeting.
safe.
goodbye.
Be
Bye.
safe.
Please, everybody
Bye.
watching, be
aye.
safe.
Yeah.